Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about the use of a baton. Okay, now why would we want to use a baton? Okay, well basically, I'm in a picture situation where you own some land, you're patrolling your land, you find some guys that are, whatever, littering it, vandalizing it, they don't belong there. You address them, and basically they become hostile and maybe violent. Well, maybe they're just drunk. And basically not everybody who's being a jerk necessarily needs to be shot. So before we go to lethal force, we may want to have an option of using something less lethal. Okay, so one of those options is baton. The reason is they're collapsible. They deploy pretty quickly. So this is something that if you're patrolling your land, this is something that you may want to carry in addition to a firearm. Okay, so that's the why we would want to be trained in something like this. Okay, next let's talk about when you're training, train in the clothes that you are likely to wear. For example, right now it's winter. I'm wearing layers of clothing. This is what I would normally be wearing. So this is what I'm going to be training with, and naturally, of course, this is going to be a little restrictive, but that's reality. Okay, so don't do all your training for summertime. If you live in an area where you have 5 months of winter, you need to do winter training as well. Okay, so next, let's talk about which hand we want to use. Okay, basically, we want to be proficient with both hands, right and left. The reason is if I'm right-handed and I have a firearm on my right side here, okay, and basically I might want to use this in my left hand. So if the situation escalated and I needed to use my firearm, I can basically access my firearm. And picture a situation where I'm struggling with somebody with this. Maybe they've actually got a hold of this now, so now the situation is at a different level. And while they're grappling with this, I can get to my firearm and deploy it. Okay, or if this is down here, I'll come up high like this. Basically, when you're using a firearm with a baton or something else, basically, if this hand is high, the gun comes low. If this hand is low, the gun comes high. Okay, and normally you're going to be deploying it, holding it back here so they can't grab the gun. Okay, or if this is up here and the grappling for this up here, you're deploying this from back here. Okay. So that's why you would want to train. If you're right-handed, you definitely want to be good with this in your left hand. If you're left-handed, you want to be good with this in your right hand. Basically, you want to be good with either hand. Okay, that's the bottom line with this. Okay. So next, let's talk about how to actually use this. And the way you use this is kind of similar to punching. Okay. Right now, I'm just going to go through the basic strikes. What you don't want to do is you don't want to roundhouse. You don't want these wide strikes that come wide, because obviously, first of all, a wide strike is slow and it can be easily blocked just by somebody. Basically they can move in on you and block your hand over here. What you want is a short, not a short, I don't mean short, but a straight attack, straight in line. Okay, so basically from here you're attacking there, attacking to the leg, attacking to the head on the other side. Okay. Now, as far as the target areas, what you're primarily targeting is the forearms and the shins. Okay. And the reason is that there's not too much muscle and layers of fat and stuff covering that. So if you strike anybody over here with a piece of metal, they're gonna feel that. Okay. Same thing if you strike them in the shin, they're gonna feel it. Now, obviously, if you strike somebody to the head with this, this can be lethal, so that's something you got to be aware of what you're doing. But secondly, in order to get to the head area, you usually got to get past the arms. Okay, so basically the arms are going to be closest to you. The low legs are also going to be very accessible. With a long weapon like this, you're going to have some reach, so you can get to the legs. Okay, so your strikes are basically, that is to the forearm, that's to the shin, forearm, shin. Forearm, shin, and basically you want to practice that back and forth, back and forth. The reason is because, when you strike to the forearm, that may stop them, that may not stop them. It's certainly going to serve as a distraction. So once you hit here, Now you've got their attention up here. Now you go to the shin. Okay, now all of a sudden, I mean, if they haven't dropped already, that's where their attention is. You know, now you can come back up here. You can also go to the other side. You know, to the other side. For you know, of course, that requires a little bit more practice on your part. But it's basically the same thing. Instead of going there, I'm just turning my arm over and I'm going over to the other side. And I'll do it from this side so you can get a better view. Okay, so that's forearm, leg, and then that comes to the other side. And again, you can see how my strikes are tight. Okay, if you look at my arm, it's going like that the whole time. There's nothing like that. Okay, there's no wide movements. Everything is short, 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 short. Okay, so that's how you want to strike with this. Now, the other thing that you want to be aware of is your distance, okay, and your timing. Generally, when you're in some type of confrontation of this nature, you know, basically somebody's going to be charging at you, okay, and that's the reason why you're defending yourself. So you're in a hand-to-hand type of situation. They're charging at you, okay. In order for this to be effective, basically you have to be at your optimal range, okay. Now, if they do close in on you, there are ways to, you know, I mean, I can shorten this up. I'll do it from this side. You can see, if they happen to close in on me, I can shorten this up, okay? So as you can see, what I'm doing is I'm bringing it across my chest, and I'm shortening this up so I can get to where I need to get, okay? But of course, now they're closer to me. They can reach parts of my body. They can punch me. You know, if they have a weapon, they can hit me with the weapon. Okay. So one of the things we want to do is we want to maintain distance, and the way that we're going to maintain distance is simply by stepping back. So if now we're going to assume that the person where this target is over here, that's where they're starting off. You know, we're talking. We're like, hey, what are you doing here? Hey, stop, 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 stop. Boom. Okay. So for this drill here, what we're doing is we're assuming that in the time that we've said stop, 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 they've advanced from this position to this position. If I don't step back, basically they're going to be on top of me. But by me stepping back and saying, hey, stop, 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 bang, okay, stop, 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 bang, bang, okay. And again, you want to train on realistic ground over here. There's rocks and stuff over here. You want to get used to working on this type of ground, whatever ground you're most likely to be on, okay? So that's the thing with distance and timing. And ideally, what you also want to do is if they're coming in on you, rather than retreating straight back, also consider, you know, moving to the side. So from here, stop, 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 boom. So as they're coming this way, I'm moving this way. So their force is driving them that way. Meanwhile, I'm going in that direction. Okay, so again, it's stop, 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 boom. Okay, stop, 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 boom, boom. Okay. The thing to keep in mind is that, you know, this is, you know, this is not sharp. This is a blunt object. In order for this to work, you got to give it speed. Okay, this is a weapon of speed. If you're making slow shots, like, you know, even if, you know, that's not going to be effective as that. Okay, so you have to give this speed in order for it to work. If you can't put speed behind this, you know, it's really not. It's not going to work well. And basically, there's two extremes with this type of a weapon. Either it's not going to hit hard at all, okay, or it's going to hit very hard. Okay, so there's almost like no middle ground. Okay, so you kind of have to hit hard. That's one of the reasons why we generally avoid the head, you know, unless we really, you know, need to hit at the head. Okay, we're aiming for forearms and shins to stop somebody from doing whatever bad things they're trying to do to us. Another thing to keep in mind is if they do end up on top of you, and you know you really can't use this, you do have a couple of options. Number one, you have the butt of this that can come in. Okay, that can go right to the face. Okay, and another option is a wrap. Basically, I can go to the back of the head. Okay, and the way that works, again, it's a tight shot. Okay, but what I'm doing is instead of aiming here, okay, I'm aiming here, and then basically the centripetal forces, you know, is just bringing this out, and then basically it wraps around. Okay, so basically that's a very effective option if somebody gets really close to you, and it's a shot that you need to practice, and that's also something that you can do behind the leg as well. You go head, back of the leg, And you can follow that up with a butt spike, with the spike to the nose as well. Okay. Now, one of the other things that we also want to practice with this is if the situation escalates to the point where you also need to use lethal force, where you have to shoot, because basically, you may not see a gun at first, but all of a sudden, situation escalates. You try to stop them with non-lethal force, and all of a sudden you see a gun. You gotta use non-lethal. You gotta use lethal force now. And the way I've set this drill up, basically this is gonna be because I don't want to destroy this target over here. I'm basically gonna start with this, and then basically transition and to a different weapon and shoot at that target over there. Okay. Down, put some earmuffs on. Okay, and generally, basically, we're gonna drop this, and the way this works, I'll basically here I'm using it in my left hand. Okay, right. Hey, what are you doing here? Stop! Fuck that. Okay. All right, so that's a situation of how this can turn out, and you need to practice this. You need to get used to this transition of going from a baton to a firearm if you need to. So again, hey, what are you doing here? Stop! Okay. So again, that's the drill. These are some things for you guys to think about. Start slow and then pick it up from there. See you guys next time.